Good morning, friends. Hello, hello. How are you? What's happening today? Good morning, good morning. You having a grand morning? It is sunny, chilly. It is a proper fall day out there today. Hope you're enjoying it. Maybe there's a apple cider donut in your future. Yeah, I know. It always comes back to donuts. Like really, that's why they're circles. That's why they're circles. Good morning, everybody. A few people coming on in. Hey, Karen, good morning to you. Good morning. Hope you're doing great. Get one or two more folks coming along here. We'll get going. Good morning, friends. All right, let's do this thing. It is the 15th day of October on this Wednesday at 11:11, and I'm glad you're a part of the journey. This is a joy to be with you and hope that you have found goodness and grace in your day. So you may not know, so there's a thing about me that you may or may not know, but I have a knack for walking through the world and shedding objects. Yeah, it's a gift. Well, it's a something for sure. That I lose items all the time. It's a knack that I have to be able to just shed things wherever I go. When I was on the Camino de Santiago, I had about 2 weeks of just leaving things behind. Now, one of the things they say about Camino is that the quote unquote Camino provides. That sometimes when people need something, there'll be a thing that will show up in front of them just when they need it. And almost everyone has a Camino story like that. I remember for me, I was a there I think I've shared this story before, but I was having a particularly grumpy day. You work through some things, and some days aren't they're not all it's not all unicorns and rainbows. So you had work particularly grumpy one day, and I came across a little painted rock, and on that painted rock um, was this little inscription on it, and it said "Life's a beach," and so you get the entendre. There's just life is a and then there's life is a beach, and so there's and I was kind of having a life as a kind of morning. So that was my and so it had provided me with that little teaching of like, don't get so grumpy, don't quite hold this so hard. That there's on the other side of this of all these things that you're complaining about, or the way your feet are hurting, or the way that or just whatever emotion or feeling was working through you at the time. Don't hold that lightly, because right on the other side of that is some beauty and goodness and truth of the life that we're living. And so, that was an example of Camino providing something for me. But the other thing was that what I constantly did was just shed objects. I lost my hat, I lost my sunglasses, I lost my soap. I know my soap, right? Like, I had a little like bag of soap, and it's like a little thing. I'd hang it up. Who knows where it went? I lost thing after thing after thing that I was stripped down along the way. And this notion of losing things, I think about it. There's you just like here in the city, it's been just a week of crazy kind of losses in some ways. We had a plane crash on the highway. You don't hear? Yes, I said that right. We had a plane crash on the highway. Plane crash. I can't even say it without. And two people in the region, really, really great folks by all reports, lost their lives in that accident. And there's been almost every morning that there's been some accidents in the city, and both of all the ones I've seen have somehow left a car sitting upside down. And thankfully I don't think too many people have been hurt in those, but this notion of just thinking about all these things that these people are losing. I mean, these people that lost their lives, these people that lost their they're living in cars that are upside down now. They're cars that stacked on top of each other. It's like it's crazy out there. But not only that is that it is a life filled with loss, and it's filled with loss, and and Jesus had something to say about this. That there's the great parable, the great story about Jesus and the lambs, Jesus and his sheep. Where he says, what do you think if anyone has 100 sheep and one of them has gone astray? Don't you think that the shepherd leaves the 99 and goes and looks for the one? He says, it's this, and that all of that teaching was really to point us to this, that for the Son of Man has come to save that which is lost. When we think about loss and we think about the things that we've lost, we think about the beloved, the people that are no longer, the empty chairs that are part of our life, the empty dog beds that are a part of our life, the empty cat beds that are a part of our life, the jobs that we once did that we no longer identify ourselves with, the the kids that used to live at home that aren't anymore, the worlds that we are moving through, that everything seems to be this constant and real encounter of hellos. But if you get any length down the path at all, it seems a whole lot more goodbyes. And so what are we to do with this notion that says, for the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost? And I think there's a way of holding this that isn't just our basic kind of digital. I had a thing, now I don't have a thing. This was here, now it's not there. I mean, while that reality is true, I wouldn't deny that, but that's not truly actually our lived reality, because those people and those occupations and those relationships are still a part of us. That it's been said that death may end a life, but it doesn't end a relationship. And even the hymnody that we find, our hymns speak of, what got me on this was the great Len Sweet had just a little throwaway line this morning, but it made me begin to contemplate all of this loss that we're transgressing, even the loss of the world, right? Even we're looking at our institutions and we're like, oh gosh, they're just not what they used to be. We look at the government that's shut down, the craziness is going, like even the reliability of the things that we think, these stalwart things that are supposed to work and supposed to work beyond lifetimes, that is supposed to be for many generations, and they seem to be coming undone. I once was lost, but now am found, writes John Newton in Amazing Grace. And I think the thing that we forget, and this is what Sweet pointed out, is that being lost also has another side to it. We tend in our lives, in fact, I don't know if there's another way to do it, that all we can do is look at the absence of a thing. All that we can do is look at the emptiness. All we see when we look to the losses of our life are the empty chair. But the thing on the other side of loss, the thing on the other side of provision, is that we got to have that thing in the first point. We got to encounter that life in the first way. And that's not just that we should go, you should be thankful for what you had. It is to say that to be lost from our grief or from our desolation is to be lost than in wonder or transcendence. Because really, that is also the other side of being lost, right? The other side of being lost isn't just this that we're lost but we can be lost in thought. We can be lost in wonder. We can be lost in wonder and praise, which is also, by the way, another great hymn line that we are lost. We can be lost in our desolation, but then but being lost is also purgatory to paradise. Friends, my hope for you today is that the these all these the losses that seem to be around us, the losses that we seem to be moving through in our world, the losses of our physical welfare, of our anxieties, of our that all of those things. As we consider this line from Matthew in a whole different and perhaps much more deep way than we've ever read it before. For the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. It's come to fill the griefs of our lives with wonder and transcendence. It's come to fill the absences of our lives with appreciations and with joys. That the Son of Man has come not just to pull us off the ledge, but that there's actually something there is just the not nothing, but there is more and life in abundance. As we journey this out, as we continue to be found by the great shepherd, as we continue to be nurtured by the one who came for us. It's not that you were just rescued out of a thicket and oh, here you are, and that's great. Now toddle along. It is that for the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost. That in the end, we never really lose much of anything. That certainly things change, but the things that have made indelible marks upon our hearts, we carry with us. That the relationships that we have loved, we will have forever, for eternity. And just because they may have gone beyond the veil, our bodies that break down will one day be made right and whole and not in this world. And I don't know how all that works out, but I don't need to, but I know that it does. That I know that as that great teaching says, that I say to you that one day the angels in heaven continually see the face of my Father who is in heaven. And so too will we. And in that, all things will be made whole. All things will be made wonder-filled. All things will transcend the griefs and the breakings in the hearts of this veil of tears that we find our way through. So, yeah, we should feel sad about our lost things. But we should not let the loss be the end, because the loss of our desolation in the love of Christ Jesus is to be lost in the wonder of eternity and the transcendence of all things of this world for those of the next. Peace and grace to you all, my friends, and we'll pick it up tomorrow with another 11:11.